The following podcast contains strong language.
Hello and welcome to Ciné Rambles Oscar podcast. For the first time, we are coming to you in an audio format because people just don't read anymore, I suppose. This is me. I'm Nick Prosser, the normal author of the blog. I'm here with Andrew Jones.
Hello.
My good friend and fellow film fanatic.
Yep.
Tell them about yourself, Andrew.
I like films, but I haven't seen any of the Oscar films, so this will be fun.
Yes. You couldn't get a better guest for an Oscars podcast.
I've seen like one or two.
Which ones?
I've seen 1917
Yeah.
and The Joker.
Such a normie. So you haven't gone out and seen Parasite, which is
No.
available in a whole 3 theatres in Europe.
Yep.
Right, okay, so I guess we'll start with the best picture
Oh, I saw
category.
Jojo Rabbit.
Oh, you saw Jojo? Oh, yeah, you did see Jojo.
Yeah,
'Cause I
yeah.
took you to see that.
Yeah, you saw it with me. Yeah.
Yeah. Right, best picture.
Alright, let's go through. So, 1917.
We're going to do short reviews of them. Or-
Well, no, I'm just going to go through the nominees.
Okay.
And then I can say which ones I have and haven't seen.
Okay,
So, 1917.
yes.
Seen that.
Okay,
Ford v Ferrari.
Mm.
Haven't seen that.
good film.
Joker. Have seen it.
Have seen that.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Haven't seen it.
No.
Parasite. Haven't seen it. Irishman. Haven't seen it. Little Women. Haven't seen it. Jojo Rabbit. It's a have seen. A Marriage Story. Haven't seen it.
So, since basis conjecture is so much fun, which do you think should have won out of all?
Out of those three
Yeah.
that I've seen, my favourite was Jojo Rabbit.
Okay, that's fair. So I think Parasite won, of course, is the big news, and I think that's probably the most deserving. It was my favourite of the lot. I think it's a weird one this year because actually most of the nominees I would say were good films.
Super deserving.
There's not much bait this year. But then on the night, looking at them, none of them really seemed... I think because there was no real bait, none of them seemed like, Oscar-y kind of titles.
What won last year? Was it The Favourite?
No, it was Green Book, which was basically bait.
Right,
Good,
yes.
it was like upper tier bait, but it was still bait.
Do you know what? Didn't see that either.
No, I'm missing a pattern. But yeah, it's interesting because anyone following the Twitter may have seen the slight panic I had towards the end because originally I went with The Little Women, mainly because it's a classic work of literature. It's a period piece.
Have you seen Little Women?
I have. I've seen all of the nominees.
Give me a small review of Little Women then.
Oh Christ. Like 5 words, should we say?
5?
Yeah. A whole 5.
A whole 5? Christ.
I'd say
We haven't got all day. 1 word review, go.
decent.
Okay. 2 word review, go.
Decent-ish. Basically, it's very well directed, well put together and acted, but it's not anything special.
That was 14 words, Nick.
I'm sorry. There's been a lot of buzz about Little Women, and I can see. I've never read the book, so I don't know if the people who love it have read the book, and this is just a definitively good adaptation.
Hasn't it been adapted? Hasn't it been adapted 7 times before? It's even had an animation, hasn't it? I think so.
It's how there was the 90s Pride and Prejudice miniseries.
Yeah.
I think it had a similar treatment. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good. I just don't... It's like a solid 7 out of 10.
Right.
I don't see it, as this masterpiece everyone else does. But maybe it's just not my thing.
That's possible.
Although,
How is Hermione Granger? I can't remember her name.
Emma Watson.
That's the one.
She's not the most interesting character in it.
No.
Saoirse Ronan and Florence Pugh are the real sort of...
Saoirse Ronan's good in everything, though, isn't
Yeah.
she? Yeah.
But they sort of steal the show.
Fair.
It's interesting because I remember because I work at the cinema, and
As do I.
yes, we work at the same cinema.
Yes.
Well, probably not allowed to name it, but anyway. And I was clearing a screen after Little Women.
Yeah.
And this old lady came out to me. I was like, "Oh, did you enjoy the film?" She said, "Oh, it was very good." I said, "Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it." It's like, "Oh, I don't think you'll like it. It's a girls' film." And I sort of hit her back with a classic "Cinemas for Everyone,"
Oh.
which she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure you're right." And it's
And then Nick beat her up.
No. I wished her a good day and then let her leave the cinema.
Oh, scathing.
But it sort of bothered me because when I was watching the film, I sort of was reminded of this when I was not suitably enthralled by it.
Yeah.
It's like, is it? I refuse to believe it's like it's a girls' film. That's why people like it. And
that's also a terrible excuse.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Like I think I don't know.
Things that are majoritarily aimed at women, you can still enjoy them, can't you?
Exactly.
And vice versa.
So I don't know if maybe it is just not for me. Or
but what do you think then is holding it back?
Well, that's the problem because there's not like any specific flaw with it as such.
It's just not that good.
That's why it sort of frustrated me to think. It's also why I sort of didn't.
So there's nothing inherently wrong with it.
No. It's just, that's the thing. It's like the direction's really good, the acting's brilliant, the writing is pretty good.
Oh, and she got snubbed, didn't she?
Oh, I mean, the woman just in general did rubbish.
Yeah.
It got 1 Oscar, I think, for costume design.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which we'll get onto.
We'll get onto. But yeah, I was actually quite surprised that it didn't, because I mean, it was really, doing the rounds critically, and then just,
also it's packed. Like again, back to the cinema. Like every screening still is got a lot of people in it.
Must be the sexist Oscars, am I right?
Wow.
No, I don't know. It's a good film, but I mean, I that was my original pick to win, just because I thought classic adaptation, well executed. It seemed one of the closer things on the list to Bait.
Yeah.
But no, I then changed to Marriage Story.
Right.
Which again was the other one, which I'd say is sort of baity, although that's sort of unfair because Marriage Story is actually really good.
Well, let's go on to Marriage Story then.
So Marriage Story,
another one I haven't seen.
It's on Netflix, so you've got no excuse.
Adam Driver and what's her face?
Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson. And it's based off a true story, isn't it? Or is it based on a book?
It's not. I don't know if it's based on any specific story, but
I think it is.
Well, it's based on the director's own experience with getting a divorce, I think.
Right.
But like, it's not like
of which because I've seen footage of the couple it's based on in like a courtroom or whatever.
Oh, maybe then. It might just be the director.
It's based
Noah
off.
Baumbach.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Should we Google it?
You can Google it.
I've got to Google
it. Well, I tell everyone about Marriage Story. But yeah, Marriage Story. I mean, because there's a thing with the Oscars. Since the majority of the Academy members are made up of actors, there's normally a tendency for films with sort of acting. Firstly, people acting in them, and also films which feature characters who are actors tend to do quite well. I mean, Marriage Story, Adam Driver is a director in New York with his own independent theatre company. So it's like, perfect Oscar material there. Yeah, it's a difficult one for me to talk about because there's no sort of specific flaws with it. There's the one problem I have in Marriage Story is that there's in an effort to make Adam Driver's character, I don't know, less sympathetic despite him being the protagonist, they made it so he cheated on his wife, which is supposedly part of a divorce, which then seems really incongruous with the rest of his character, in my opinion. And then the whole the rest of the plot, I think it would have been more interesting if they were both, imperfect humans who just had these small problems and it's driven them apart, and now make the drama more powerful. But trying to then artificially vilify one of them to make it more valid seems like sorry. And she just turned back to me and I get the impression he's not listened to a word I've said for the past 3 minutes.
Oh, absolutely not. No. I can tell you after a Google.
Yeah.
It's semi-autobiographical.
Semi-autobiographical.
As in Noah, however you say Baumbach had a divorce.
Yeah.
And he's just dramatised it.
That's what I thought, yeah.
There you go.
There we go.
I didn't listen to anything you said.
That's okay. So. I've carried this review.
Cool, good job. Well, I haven't seen it anyway,
no.
So...
It's definitely worth a watch. I enjoyed it a lot.
Is Adam Driver good?
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
As I've said before, if it was any other year, he should have won Best Actor.
Really?
But unfortunately, Joker came out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's do Joker then. On to the Joker.
On to Joker.
What I've actually seen.
So you're not a fan of Joker, are you?
It's not that I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of of the fan response.
No.
Do you know what I mean? I feel like its public reception is giving it a lot higher regard than it deserves. Like, it's not a bad film. I think that at all. Like, it's good, and it was okay. I enjoyed it when I saw it, but I haven't shat the bed in absolute pure blissful joy at the very thought of the Joker, as everyone else seems to do. I also didn't like the ending, and there are a couple bits of the film that just were cringe, like, unnecessary and cringy and like bad.
Elaborate on the ending bit.
So,
without spoiling.
Spoiling.
Well, I don't know. People have seen the Joker, right?
Everyone's seen it, surely.
If you haven't seen the Joker and care, skip ahead like a minute.
Okay.
Go on, the ending.
I just feel like so much of it is build up, and then the end bit is just so it's like, I know they have this
talking
whole
about
thing.
the talk show scene or the bit after?
The bit after.
Okay. Oh, the riots.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But that bit, it's like, I know, it's just this. I don't know what to feel about it, because firstly, and we've had this debate before about the glorification of him and violence in general.
Yeah.
Which I think he is glorified too much.
Right.
But, and I feel like the ending doesn't help to vilify him anywhere near enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, having the ending be a cheering crowd after he's just killed someone.
But then the question then is, are we supposed to be... the Joker kills someone? What are you talking about? I think the thing with that is, and as I've sort of talked about in my long post on the Joker, because it depends on if you think we're supposed to be sympathising with the crowd, if we're supposed to be cheering him on as well. Because I still maintain that there's a emotional distance between us by that point.
I just think that it doesn't do enough. Like, I remember thinking while sort of watching the film, like, it doesn't. I got sick of the film trying to make us feel sorry for him.
Right.
Because, like, he goes through all this thing, and it's like, oh, right, yeah, I get it. He's downtrodden. Oh, he's fucking sad. Whatever. Can we fucking get on with it? And it's like, right up until the last fucking final act, it's like, oh yeah, he's really miserable. And it's like, yeah, I know that from the fucking first time you showed us that. And it's just like, oh yeah, he's still miserable. Yeah, I know, just move on. I was just sick of that. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, his life sucks. It's like, wow.
I feel like you'd hate 1984.
Well,
come on, we get it. You don't have any privacy.
But it's just, I just felt like that was so tactless, the way it was handled. It's like, could they make his life any more fucking miserable? It's like, no. It's like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
But also, there wasn't any redeeming characters. Like, the people who should have been, like, the good guys are assholes, And it's
including, like, Robert De Niro.
Including Robert De Niro, it's like, oh, it's his hero. And I was like, oh, maybe Robert De Niro can have some sort of redemption. It's like, no, he's also a twat. It's like, just everyone's a twat in it. And it's like, because it's so trying so hard to align you with the Joker, but I just don't like that. Like, should you be aligned with him? I just don't.
See, my thoughts on Joker overall are quite precarious. Like, I feel like on a rewatch, I could either end up loving it or hating it.
I don't think
like,
it's
right
again,
balancing
like,
that
I have all these problems with it. I don't hate the film.
Yeah.
Like, it's enjoyable. There was a couple bits that I thought, this is just unnecessary. Like, there's some weird forced humour. Like, when he tries to walk back into the hospital and he walks into the door, like...
Oh, yeah.
Like, what? It's just so out of place, everyone forgets about it.
It's a weird one, because it's a film... While watching it, I remember, like, in the first act or so, I was really into it and enjoying it. And then as it went on, I sort of... It started to lose me a bit. But I feel that was more the emotional distance thing starting to do its magic. But by the time I finished the film, I sort of didn't know what to think.
Yeah.
But then it grew on me after. The more I thought about it and sort of, dissected it.
I feel like I need to watch it again.
Yeah. But that's the thing. The thing is, recently, whenever I hear, like, the name Joker, it doesn't feel the same way as when I hear another film that I like. When I hear, like, Parasite, I'm like, oh, yes. I hear Joker, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's a slight uncomfortableness.
But also,
and I don't know if that's just the film, like, doing its job because it's supposed to be uncomfortable. Like,
yeah.
in the same way Black Mirror makes you feel uncomfortable in a good way. Or if it's a film I'm genuinely, like, uncomfortable with as a film.
The thing is, whereas with Black Mirror,
Yeah.
I feel like there's enough to draw you back in. Like, I want to watch Black Mirror again.
Yeah.
And I have, and I've rewatched Black Mirror stuff. But whereas with the Joker, I'm reluctant to watch it again because I don't know. Now I know the ending. I know what to expect. I'm less.
Yeah, because the argument I can make there is like, because you're saying like, oh, we're trying to make the Joker, who's an inherently bad person, sympathetic. Then most of the protagonists in Black Mirror are also terrible people.
That is true.
Which is an interesting counterpoint. But then is that a writing thing, or is that...
Because I think that must be a writing thing. Because in, let's say, Sharp and Dance.
Okay.
So that's,
Best Black Mirror episode.
yeah, exactly. A brilliant Black Mirror episode. You are aligned with him right up until the end.
Yes.
But is that because you don't know what's wrong with him? Or, you don't know why he's committed the crime until the end.
And then you lose sympathy.
And then you're like, oh, well, he deserves it.
Yeah.
Whereas in the Joker, you see him commit those crimes and be bad, but the film is still trying to make you sympathetic right up until the very end. And even then, it's got the fucking whole crowd cheering for him. I think it just doesn't do enough. Whereas in Shut Up and Dance, it is completely damning, and you're like, oh, well, he's had a terrible time, but, I mean, he's a fucking paedophile, so...
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
What's interesting with that, though, is when I rewatched Shut Up and Dance, it still didn't affect my perception. Even though I knew what he'd done, and I saw like more of the sort of clues hidden out throughout, it didn't make me like him any less. So maybe that is a writing thing.
Yeah. But then I suppose the Joker is supposed to be psychotic, isn't he? Whereas he... I don't remember what the character's called, but in Shut Up and Dance, he's not.
But I mean, that's sort of... Because basically the idea is there's no protagonist. There's no such thing as a protagonist who's so bad you can't be sympathised. Like, Alex from Clockwork Orange. Absolute piece of shit, but you sympathise with him. So it's it's sort of like, what is the Joker doing differently or wrong where it's not... Is it just trying to be too forceful?
I feel like it is. I feel like it's trying so hard that it shoves it down your throat, and it's like, I understand that he's bad. Can we move on? Can we have a bit of plot,
Okay.
But what I really did like, when they said that, and I thought, because this is also a completely different version of the Joker than we've seen before. Like, he's not the crown prince of crime, and he's not like the Heath Ledger. He's like a different kind of more psychotic, sort of villainous lone wolf kind of guy.
Slightly more realistic kind of style.
Which is a shame, because I actually really like the crime empire, or, like Mark Hamill Joker
he is starting off, isn't he?
Yes, which is fair enough. But
what I did like, because it's like, it almost feels like this kind of Joker wouldn't be able to form that crime empire. Like, he's not intelligent in that way. He's just, I was gonna say damaged, but he's not this criminal genius. He's just a bit of a nutter.
But also, like, again, if we compare it to Heath Ledger, like the reason you like Heath Ledger is because he's completely unhinged, but he's so unhinged that he's entertaining.
Yeah.
Whereas they try and make
sort of comes back around again to being smart. Almost.
Yeah. But also he's so crazy that he's a genius.
Yeah.
Whereas this Joker is just miserable.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he's having a good time when he's killing people, and it's like, okay, but he's not got the wit and the, he doesn't feel like he has that intelligence that makes him not a good character, but
like an interesting character.
Like, can you see that Joker coming up against a Batman?
No, I see what you mean.
But then you can say the argument against that, playing devil's advocate, is this is a standalone film, isn't it?
Yeah, but I feel like, because I feel Joker doesn't almost feel like, I don't think of it as a comic book movie, but I think of it as an art house piece. It almost feels like someone took Joker's like, what if this happened in real life?
Yeah. I feel like that's what you have to do, which is why I like, I can detach it from that.
Yeah.
I just can't see this being anything, I feel like this would have done better, would serve better if they detached the Joker name from it.
Oh, and just called it Clown.
Well, not Clown, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a clown, but just a piece about...
Yeah.
A killer.
But how do they get that money?
Well, exactly. They haven't got the IP, yeah. But do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like the Joker name just taints it too much.
Yeah. I think ultimately the idea, I think it's a good film. I mean, I can understand people not liking it. I can understand people loving it.
Yes.
But I think ultimately you can't dismiss it entirely.
Yeah. Like, I don't dismiss it. Like, it's still a good film.
I think that's my sort of...
And I feel like his performance is very good, evidently. But I was going to say something else and I've forgotten it, so...
yeah. But that wasn't going to win Best Picture though. Like,
No.
I could not see that winning Best Picture because it's not. I can't see the old Academy voters voting for something as radical as that.
Yeah. But also, so there was a bit that I really liked was I thought they were going to completely commit to it, but they didn't, which was a bit of a shame. When they said that spoilers again, I've said spoilers about 4 times, so if you haven't got it by now, then
if you're still listening, you presume you just don't care about Joker,
yeah,
or have seen it.
You know, when they were like, he was convinced that he was Thomas Wayne's son, which would make him Bruce Wayne's half brother. I thought that would have been really, really interesting. Like, what if they were brothers and you have one that's...
That'd be really interesting.
Because then that's like the 2 sides, isn't it?
2 sides of the coin.
It's cool.
Bring Two-Face in there as well.
But then I was like, oh, because that's not... Well, as far as I'm aware, it's not been done before. I was like, that's really original, and that could be a really fun, cool thing to explore. And maybe maybe that's the why Batman can't kill the Joker because he knows he's his brother or whatever. You know, I was like, oh, if they commit to that, that would be really cool, and that could have legs. Yeah. But they didn't. So oh well.
It's an interesting idea, but then of course to develop that further, you'd almost have to have a sequel, which I think would ruin.
Yeah, that is true.
So that's sort of a weird catch-22.
Yeah.
They could recycle that idea later.
Yeah, I mean, they could. Yeah. I mean, it's probably been done in comics. I'm just unaware of it.
Yeah. You're saying you don't know every comic ever. Disappointing.
Well, my apology.
See, I just don't know any comics at all, so I'm at one end rather than somewhere in the middle.
I know a couple.
I've read one comic.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so what... So we do 1917?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Cool. So we've discussed this.
We have discussed this.
Oh, quite a lot, really.
I've done a bit of this on the blog as well.
So, what was your initial reaction to it?
My initial reaction was that I got bored about halfway through.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And overall, I sort of felt it was... Basically, the beginning was really strong. And the last sort of 20 minutes or so was really strong. And then the middle, it kind of sagged. And I think ultimately, I was quite harsh on it at the time in my blog, because I was sort of trying to respond to sort of everyone, you know, crowding. I mean, it's like, what, number 50 on the top 250 at the moment on IMDb? It's got, like, crazy reviews. Everyone's loving it.
Yeah.
And I was a bit sort of dispossessed, and I was like, rubbish. But, I mean, having seen bits of it again, I'm completely rewatching it, or I might do before it goes off cinemas. But it's a film... It's a really good film, mostly. Like, the bits which are good are utterly fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much sweep technicals this year. It's got, I think it's 3 Oscars for...
Got Best Cinematography.
Yep, sound mixing.
And visual effects.
Yes, that was it.
Yeah.
So it's all technicals, and all those elements were really good, really well done. But I think it shows that the other things it failed on, things like directing, acting, writing. Well, to be fair, they didn't get any acting nominations, did they?
No, they didn't.
No, but that basically sums it up perfectly. And it goes, because the marketing also, I think, does a good job of summing up in that. It's like, oh, look at this one-take film. It's a technical marvel.
Yeah.
It's like, yes. And the story?
Yeah.
And that's the main problem with the film. It's very well put together. It's very well shot. Sort of. Yeah.
Well, we can talk about that.
I'll talk about on the cinematography section.
Yes.
But yeah, it's mostly well shot. It's got really good sound. It's got a good performance. You know, it's all the technicals are great, but the story is slightly too generic, slightly too two-dimensional to really give any legs.
And I feel like the characters as well are two-dimensional. Like they keep mentioning things like that could flesh them out, but then they never go back to them. Like George Mackay, whatever his name, Schofield. Yeah. He mentions that he was at the Somme, and it's like, oh, maybe he's got PTSD or whatever. You know, he's got shell shock, but then he never goes back into it, and it's like, oh, okay, like that could have been some good character development, but then they just don't do anything with it. And I feel like, is it time? Is it like they haven't got the time because they have to keep the story moving constantly, that they haven't got time enough to develop the characters? So
this leads me on to something I said to you a while back, where I think, considering the conceit of 1917 is sort of this one take, and it's sort of going for a real time effect, I think an 8-hour miniseries would have worked better. basically like Band of Brothers meets 24.
Yes.
And then
I feel like that. Yeah.
Because then we could get that real time sense in a realistic way, so having a jump cut in the middle to make it work.
Yeah.
And also we get time to have that character development.
Yeah.
And maybe that sort of Das Boot-esque kind of like, monotony of war.
Yeah.
In a way, it doesn't feel almost or 1917 feels monotonous, I think, by accident, rather than as any statement.
I was never bored during it, but there was a few scenes where you're on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
But I was never bored during it. There was definitely times when it wound down.
Yeah, I mean, maybe bored's the wrong word, but I feel basically after he got knocked out by the sniper,
yeah,
my attention dipped.
Also, did he get shot? Because a bullet definitely goes off. Yeah. Schofield, when he goes up to the sniper, a bullet definitely goes off.
I think what happens is it hits him like on the helmet, so it's enough force to knock him out, but the helmet saves. I think that's what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I was like, he got shot and he's got no bullet wound at all. And I was
that's
like,
the
what?
thing. Because when it happened, it cuts to black for someone like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
That was a really short
anticlimactic
film.
Yeah.
I was like, that can't have been 2 hours, surely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna make another point. I've forgotten what it was.
There was a lot of celebrity baiting as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch was kind of just...
And Colin Firth, like,
yeah.
oh, they're in this film for a minute.
I remember my point.
Yeah.
And this will be spoilery, so if you care about 1917 and you wonder, 3 people hasn't seen it yet,
yeah,
scribble ahead. But one of the bigger problems, I think, and why some of the story and character doesn't work, is we're introduced to, of the 2 characters, we have the main one with black hair. Can't remember any of their names.
Schofield.
That's Schofield, and then blonde hair one. Who survives?
Tommen. Let's call him Tommen.
But so Schofield's the one we're introduced to as like the protagonist, and he's the one who's like, oh, my brother's over there. He's the one who's given the mission. So
Tommen is not Schofield.
Wait, so black hair and blonde hair.
Yeah, yeah.
Which one's which?
Tommen is blonde hair.
Okay.
I can't remember his actual name.
No. Which one's?
And then Schofield is the taller one with darker hair, which is Schofield.
Hang on. Which one dies first?
Tommen.
Tommen was black haired.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was.
No, Dean Charles Chapman.
Oh, he's dark hair. The blonde one's the one who lives.
No.
No. He's
Fucking
blondish.
hell.
Right. Okay. Anyway. Hey. Right. One who dies early.
Yeah.
We'll call him
King Tommen.
Tommen. Right. So Tommen's the one who we're introduced to as like the protagonist.
Yes.
And he's the one given the mission.
He's the one who's got the mission. Yeah.
He's the one who's got the brother he's going to reunite with. So
Yeah.
he's got the emotional connection, and Mackay is just sort of like.
Yeah.
Mackay's going. Yeah. He's just sort of just along for the ride. He's just the Deuteronomy, the +1.
Yes.
Which
so what I thought was going to happen, like, Schofield, so George Mackay, keeps getting injured and like taking things. I was like, that's why I didn't think he was gonna. I thought he was gonna die.
Yeah.
And it would just be Tommen by himself.
Exactly.
Because it was like, and then he would have this PTSD moment of the other guy protecting him. Because he cuts his hand to get through the barbed wire.
That was something, because he cuts his hand and then he puts in the corpse. Like,
and I was like, that's going to come up later.
Yeah, he's going to have to like amputate his hand. It's going to be this whole like dramatic sequence, like in like it's going to be from the Saw. Yeah. And then it doesn't happen. I was like, oh.
Yeah. So there was so much. There was, again, I think it's because of like this. They cover 12 hours in a 2-hour film. It's like this breakneck pace, and I think there's so many plot points that just never come back up again.
Yeah.
Like the cut on the hand in the dead body.
And that's why how a cut would have worked really well.
Yeah. But also, how he gets blinded in the fucking thing and then 2 seconds later can see perfectly well again. It's like, I thought like this whole thing, this would be more important, and there's so many little plot points that just don't come up again.
Yeah. And that sort of brings me to like, the big problem is then, of course, Tommen, we call it.
Tommen, yeah.
Tommen's the one who dies.
Yes.
Which with all that in mind, it feels incorrect.
Yes.
Because then we're left with the lesser character, who then also, we're like, okay, well, now you're in charge, give us some character details so we can get to know you. And then he doesn't speak for about another...
Yeah.
Because he's got no one to talk to. He finds the French woman and he's like,
he speaks to the people on the...
But not in any detail. He basically just sits there looking grumpy while they talk.
Yeah.
And then he's like, gotta push the truck.
Yeah. He's like, please!
That's the thing, we don't... Until he then meets Thingy's brother right in the last, 5 minutes, we don't really get any more character of him.
Mark Strong, who was he like a general or a sergeant or something?
Which one was Mark Strong?
I
don't know actors.
He was the one, when Tommen dies, he's
Yes.
like, "Oh, come on, I'll take you to the next thing."
Okay.
Yeah, he says about Benedict Cumberbatch's character, and he's like, "Oh, some men just don't know when to stop."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You have to make sure you've got witnesses there, or he'll just
shoot
keep
you.
going, or he'll just still do it."
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, and I thought that was going to come back up again, and then Benedict Cumberbatch was just like, "Oh, it's too late. I'm going to send the blokes back up," and he's like, "No," and he's like, "Oh, okay then." It was like, oh. Like that's supposed to be like the climactic. He's meant to be the end boss,
yeah.
and it's just like no, and it's like oh, all right then. It's like that's it.
Yeah,
it was like that's.
I'm going to drop an F-bomb for no really out of place.
Yeah,
and I'm just like oh fuck you. Oh no, it's fuck off, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh fuck off. Like okay, well you're a general. I didn't feel like.
Yeah,
that seems a bit
so strange.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still good. It's
it's
enjoyable.
good.
And on a technical standpoint, it's very good.
Yeah.
And I think you have to accept a lot of things, like the time dilation. Like right at the beginning, one of the characters is like, "Oh, we don't know what day of the week it is because we lose track of time here."
Yeah.
Because I think that's the hint that time is going to be all.
That sounds like something Alice Munderland. Oh, we don't know what day.
Yeah.
We lose track of time.
Right.
Yeah.
What's next? Ford v Ferrari.
Okay.
Didn't
which you
see
haven't
it.
seen. No.
That's pretty good.
I haven't got huge amounts to say about it really. It's a great film.
Yeah.
It's
got best editing, didn't it?
yes. Also a technical sweep. We got editing, sound editing, and oh no, it's just those two. Yeah.
Yeah. Technical sweep, he says.
Technical sweep of 2. It's an interesting thing with the Oscars this year. There weren't really many sweeps. Parasite got 4. And then 1917 got 3.
Yeah.
And that was about it in terms of that. Those are the most anything. Everything else was just 1 or 2. But yeah, Ford v Ferrari. It's similar to Rush, and sort of Senna seems to have basically inspired this wave of dramas about Formula One,
which is interesting considering Senna's a documentary, isn't it?
But it's almost like the film that's sort of the idea of a racing movie can be more than just racing, and it's about like the politics of it.
The thing is, I absolutely loved Rush. Like Rush was such a good film. I really, really enjoyed that, and I don't know why. Like I saw a few trailers for this, but I didn't I wasn't gagging to see it. You know? If it was on, I might have seen it, but it wasn't, so I just didn't bother.
The main reason I went is because my dad is obsessed with cars. I was like, it'd be a nice little treat.
It's also called Le Mans.
It's called Le Mans 66 over here.
Yes.
Which is an interesting debate of which is the better title, because it's changed because apparently having brand names like Ford
there's something.
it's like an EU law or something.
Yeah.
But I think Ford v Ferrari is the better title.
Right.
Because Le Mans 66 is like the climax of the film. It's like what they're all preparing for.
Also, Le Mans 66 doesn't really give you
anything.
any indication of what it's about. Well,
because the thing is, it's not. Even though Le Mans 66 is like what both teams are preparing for, it's not what the story's about. That's just the test.
Yeah.
Because it's about the politics of the two car companies fighting out, and it's sort of, we've got the Ford company wants this like amazing car that's going to beat Ferrari. But of course they're a company. They want to strictly keep a leash on it. Or people making it like we need the auteurs and independence to make it as we see it. Yeah. Otherwise, a horse divided by committee is a camel kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the whole sort of central idea of the film. So yeah, it's a film where with the politics at the sort of the heart of it, and a character rivalry.
You haven't really. I mean, I don't know about you, but I didn't really hear anything about it came out and that was it. Like no one really talked about it or anything.
I mean, I noticed it snuck its way onto IMDb's top 250, and then that was but that was about it. It wasn't like a massive sort of in the same as like 1917 or something.
Yeah.
Same.
But also it wasn't in the cinemas for very long.
I was in for like a month maybe.
But compared to say 1917 or Little Women, that are still there and still packed,
it's definitely. It was a surprise to see it in Best Picture category. But it's one of those sort of welcome surprises. That was actually one of the better films of last year. Yeah, and it's made it in. But yeah, I didn't expect it to win. It didn't.
Yeah.
But
okay, so Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh,
very vocal about that.
Fuck me. Okay.
I haven't seen it.
No, and
I don't really want to.
No,
to be fair.
It's 3 hours of your life you won't get back.
Yeah, see that's another thing. Like this and The Irishman, they're just so long. It's like, can I be bothered to watch it?
The Irishman, on the other hand, is actually really good.
I suppose The Irishman as well, because it's on Netflix. You have that ability to
and also there was
come back.
There was a guy on Twitter who basically devised an idea of how to watch Irishman as a mini-series in 4 sort of 45-minute episodes.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I haven't tested, but based on what he's written there, from my memory, would work out quite
So,
well.
just skipping Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, straight to The Irishman. Do you think it would work better as a miniseries? Because what is it, 3.5 hours long?
It's Would it work better as a miniseries? I don't think it would work any worse. I mean, basically, it didn't not work as a film.
Yeah.
The point is, it's the kind of it's a very absorbing film. Like, you feel the length, but you don't ever feel bored particularly.
Yeah.
And it's the interesting thing about The Irishman is I don't really like Scorsese that much. I mean, I like some of his films, but I'm not a massive fan. I didn't like Goodfellas. I don't really like, other gangster films. Like, I mean, The Godfather's never really sat well with me. And so I was fully expecting The Irishman to be like, a snore fest, as far as I was concerned. But I was like, I'll give it a chance. I'll start watching it in the morning.
Ultra violent?
No, it's
really?
It's really not. I mean, it's basically it's a lot more of men sitting around and talking.
Because it's got the three big gangster
the big boys
in it, hasn't
Robert
it?
De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Al Pacino. Yeah. But I think I'm not quite sure exactly why this works over Goodfellas for me. But I just think, coming from like such a sort of handicap in terms of my opinion of like, it's a long film, it's a gangster epic.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it so much more. I feel if I actually liked gangster films, it would be like one of my favourite films of all time.
Just a quick aside.
Yeah.
So this is an American gangster film.
Yes.
How does this compare to, say, like The Gentleman then? In a completely cultural different context.
Well, completely different breeds, I'd say.
Yeah.
So the thing of Guy Ritchie's gangster films are essentially comedies.
Yes.
And they sort of, these are much more like, American gangster films have more of a sort of definitely like solid dramas and are much more dramatic and sort of, broody is probably not the right word, but it takes themselves seriously. Well, Guy Ritchie's normally have a almost self-parodic kind of.
Also, I think there's definitely an inherent British quality where everyone, it feels like they shouldn't be there. Do you know what I mean? Like
they're all out of place, kind of thing. They're all sort of pretenders.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean,
even the most gangstery gangsters in there feel like they're still like, funny.
Yeah.
See them down the pub, whereas Al Pacino and that they're like, oh shit.
They're very much the masters of their field in terms of gangsters. I think the other thing as well is because it's not directly about the mafia as such in the same way, say, The Godfather or Goodfellas is, but it's more about because it's about Jimmy Hoffa, who was a real guy. Yeah. And he was in charge of the I think it was the truckers union, but he was this big sort of hotshot. And basically through the mafia he sort of kept everyone sort of happy and kept everything in line. Yeah. And that sort of mafia sort of was like a background presence, and of course having like Robert De Niro over the decades joined the mafia and working his way up to be like this like most trusted advisor of Jimmy Hoffa. So maybe that's why, because the mafia is sort of more of a background element, and it's more about these two characters sort of growing up. They're both quite old. But, growing together as friends, going from
aging.
From strangers going to like close, confidant friends.
Yeah.
And then of course what happens at the end, which I won't spoil.
Yes.
But it things go south, and the last of hour or so is genuinely quite profound.
Okay.
It sort of starts dealing about things like sort of this isn't really a word, but things like sort of mortality and like the end of life.
Yeah.
And, regrets. And
that's weird, isn't it? You say that the last hour.
Yeah.
Which isn't even a third of the film.
No. I mean, it's essentially an epilogue.
Yeah.
But considering like sort of the age of Scorsese now, he's coming up to 80, I think. It seems quite. This seems like a very personal film for him, and I think that's shined through.
Is the direction good?
Yes. I mean, it's one of those films where like again, it's very sort of performance and character heavy.
Yeah. And
it needs without the right direction and character, it wouldn't have maintained my interest for 3.5 hours.
That's fair.
So yeah, I think
I might give it a go, but again, just that timestamp really makes me.
There's no.
Wary.
I'd say there's no harm in watching it in episodes.
Okay.
It's. I mean, it takes place over such a long time span anyway. If you split it up by when it changed decade, that would probably do.
Yeah.
It could easily work as like a 4-part miniseries.
Okay, so just briefly back to once.
Oh yes.
Yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Brad Pitt got the Oscar. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he's fine, I guess.
Has he ever worked with Tarantino before?
Yeah, he's done Bastards.
Right. Oh yes.
Inglourious Basterds.
Of course, yeah.
And I think that's it actually.
Is that it? And then obviously Leo.
Leo's done Django.
Django, yeah.
Has he done anything else?
Was he in Hateful Eight? I don't think he was.
I think so, no.
Because that was Jeff Bridges.
There was a lot of people.
There was loads of people in that.
At least 8 of them.
At least. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood are well documented on the blog.
Yes.
I haven't watched it since.
I haven't seen it just because, again, like, I don't know why. It's not that I have an aversion to Tarantino. I just never really bother watching his films.
It's weird because I'd never considered my stance on Tarantino until I saw this film, and it was watching this film where I realised I don't like him much. Which is weird because I don't dislike his films, but I hate him.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Yeah.
I feel like he's so weird, but also he's so, I don't know, like, he's obviously very well versed in his cinema history, but he's
so self-indulgent.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. Hollywood feels like it's all the worst, most self-indulgent bits of Tarantino in one package with no plot to hold it together, and just him sort of showing off for a while.
At university, we studied Tarantino, and there was a big bit in Pulp Fiction how, you know, in the diner when they have the dance off, like, apparently that whole scene is like a homage to you know, 50s Hollywood, and it's like, but if you didn't know that, like, I had no idea that was the case until a university lecturer told me that. But, you know, I feel like Tarantino's obviously putting those in, like, but he puts it in because he's like, oh, look how smart I am. And it's like that.
I live like showing off.
Do you know what that means? Yeah, it's just it's too show-offy. And also, he's just a weird dude.
Yeah, he just, as a person, he does creep me out quite a bit. But yeah, I've realised on reflection, Inglourious Basterds is the only Tarantino film that I really love.
So I really like Reservoir Dogs. Like
I've never seen eye to eye Reservoir Dogs. I mean, I like it, but it's never really got there. It's not scratched that itch.
Well, like, so if we compare that again to a Guy Ritchie film, like, I feel like that is in a similar vein to a Guy, because it's got those comedy elements, but also half of those people again feel like they shouldn't be there, like they've stumbled in, especially Steve Buscemi and, you know, Tim Roth, like that. But also I feel like it's got such good performances in there.
Weird, I feel Reservoir Dogs, it slows down in the flashback bits.
Yeah.
So all the stuff about the post-heist, like the main plot, I find really interesting. The moment it goes to flashback, I'm like, I don't care, just show me the afterwards. Yeah. Maybe that's just me being impatient, but like,
I don't know, that's good. Because I've seen 4 Tarantino films.
I think I've seen all of them now.
So I've seen Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, and both Kill Bills. Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah, Kill Bill also is...
So I like the first one, the second one is...
Yeah, first one is good, although I still think very overrated, and the second one is... Yeah, but even Pulp Fiction, which I do like, I think is also over... Like, I enjoy it, but I don't think it's like this masterpiece everyone else sees it as.
Yeah. I don't know, it's good. Anyway, right, moving on. Just didn't really talk about it, but whatever.
No, well, I mean, okay, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, very briefly, it's showing off for 3 hours with no plot, basically. Right. That's, if you want more details, go to Ciné Rambles at blog.blogspot.com.
Because it's got Charlie Manson in it, hasn't it?
It's not even got Charles Manson in it, it's just his sort of followers.
But I thought the actor is, like, so there's someone who plays Charlie Manson, isn't there?
Oh, maybe. I mean, to be honest, I didn't realise about the Manson thing till afterwards. I had to look it up. And at the time, I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, because I read somewhere, and this citation needed, that the actor who played Charles Manson in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was the same actor who played him in Mindhunter.
Alright.
Which is like, that's really cool if he's...
Let's talk about typecasting.
Well, yeah. You know, just does that mean that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is in the same universe as Mindhunter? Like,
it's a crossover we don't want.
Yeah. Mindhunter's good.
Mindhunter, I need to get back into it because I started watching
it. I've only seen the first season.
Yeah. Well, because I was watching it at uni in like the sort of the shared kitchen TV, and of course it's a very dialogue heavy show, and every time I tried to watch it, someone would come in and use the blender. So
my problem with it, just again briefly, it's nothing to do with the Oscars.
We're still on Best Picture. We've got like 20 other categories.
Well, yeah. But just quickly on Mindhunter, I feel like the whole first season is building and building and building up, and it's like, as they get deeper and deeper and deeper and start, you know, or they're called sequence killers, or no, maybe they're actually called serial killers, and you know, they're building up, and the prologue to each episode is someone like, or this person's a serial killer, and you see them preparing. They've got like the gloves and they've got like whatever, and you see this, and then the season just ends. Like, it's so much build up with no climax.
But there's
just,
season 2.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, oh, come back to... But there's just no climax, like, at all. It's just like, oh, that's it. Okay, then.
Is that a common problem?
Well, but for this show, it's just weird. Like, there's so many good episodes in it. But then it was just like, oh, it's over.
It's done.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Today. Anyway, moving on.
Right, Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit. Absolutely loved that film.
Brilliant film,
like, that was... I mean, we saw it in 2019.
Yeah.
But...
Well, if we're going to go through that logic...
Well, anyway,
I mean...
it was my favourite film of 2019.
Yeah.
Like, I absolutely loved it. I found it hilarious. I thought... Well, the actors were very good in it, surprisingly, considering how young some of them were.
Yeah.
Like, they were very good.
Also, they found a way to make Rebel Wilson funny, which I didn't think was possible.
Yes, she was good. Oh, there wasn't a single bit about it that I didn't like, you know. I loved every part of it, and I thought, looking back on it now, like, and having seen a few more bits of it, the editing is actually really good. Like, there are some bits that are really well done. The acting is just amazing, especially Taika Waititi as Hitler is very good.
What a role!
What a role! But yeah, it was just brilliant.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's strange the number of people who've sort of, like, a lot of critics haven't liked it. I've seen some of the arguments being basically like, oh, it's insensitive towards, like,
what?
And like, oh, it skirts around the Holocaust. I'm like, yeah, because it's a comedy.
Yeah.
And
surely it would be more insensitive to...
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, there's sort of this argument about, citation needed. An argument about basically like, oh, you can't have a comedy about Nazism and not make a comment on it, and this doesn't. Like, yeah, but it does.
But it does.
Yeah, because it's all about, you know, how stupid and, like, well, not just stupidity as such, but like how deluded the Nazis were about Jewish. Like the nature of the propaganda they came up with about, you know, Jews was.
But that's also
ridiculous.
why, like, how shocked Jojo is when he actually finds a Jewish girl. It's like, you haven't got horns, you're not spitting venom, you know, like, what the fuck?
Which
but
is at the heart of the film. It's this weird sort of marriage of, like, childhood sort of imagination run wild with, like, Nazi propaganda in the way that somehow actually makes sense and kind of shows how childish Nazism was.
But also, the other thing is, you have to remember, is that actually happened. Like, that was real. Like, people, the Nazi youth was a big thing, and denazification was also a huge thing, because, like, these kids have been born and, like, ingrained since they've been in education that, you know, Jews are evil, Hitler is great.
Yeah.
And but they brought that to light, but they showed it in such a way, and it's like this coming to age thing of this boy, you know, seeing that it's not great. Like, how is that insensitive?
Yeah.
It would be insensitive if he didn't stop being a Nazi, but he does.
Well, I think the idea is like, oh, it's like making light of it, which again is bollocks, because there's also lots of really emotional, quite sad moments in it as well.
Like, it made me cry. Like, it's it handles the drama very, very well, I think.
In fact, the handling of the death scene.
Yeah.
That's probably spoiler proof. But I think it's strange how it's not even melodramatic. It's quite a quiet, tender moment. Like, it doesn't overplay it. It sort of just shows it and then just lets it sort of.
Also, that scene is really, really well shot. Like, you just get that panning shot.
Yeah.
Onto the shoes. But it's all from his point of view, because, you know, it's from his height.
Exactly.
Like, it's so well done. Like, it's just. Yeah, it's good. I feel like it handles the drama and the comedy is brilliant. So.
Exactly. It's a strange film for Oscar contention. Like, I didn't expect to see it.
Yeah.
And I only got the one for screenplay, which is fair enough because it's really funny.
It's very well written. Yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't have seen it gain Best Picture, which is what happened.
No, I don't think it could.
No. And lastly,
finally,
Parasite.
Parasite.
I can't really talk about.
No.
Because you've not seen it yet.
No, I haven't.
But
it's the winner.
It is the winner, and I think, yes,
deserving.
It's my favourite of the bunch.
It's made history.
It has made history. First foreign language film, which is fantastic, because so many of the best films of all time are in foreign language.
Yes, this is true.
It's time.
And they've always been snubbed at the Oscars.
Yeah.
And finally, it wins it, which
exactly.
probably shows you just how good it is.
I mean, it's almost like it's it's such a strange film to watch, because I mean I first found out about it in about June. I've sort of been following it and wanted to see it for all that time. And normally a film of that length of hype would make me I normally sort of come out negatively, being like, oh, it wasn't as good as the hype.
Yeah.
But something about Parasite, it was the level of care and attention in the way it was made. It felt really sort of warm and homely in a strange way. Like, I mean, Bong Joon-ho is such a great director. Like, if you've seen like The Host or Snowpiercer or Memories of Murder or Okja, no, you've got some homework. But you know, he's a very talented director. He knows what he's doing so well, especially with sort of you know, these kind of stories. And so it felt very much like, you know, a master, you know, just leading you through his sort of his Swiss watch kind of thing.
Yeah. Is it a drama?
Yes, I'm gonna say it's a thriller.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which isn't really spoiling anything.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a thriller, but it's surprisingly light at points.
Cool.
It's sort of tonally, it's sort of it fluctuates in a way that I find quite pleasing.
Okay. So do you think then that it's deserving? Like, you wouldn't put anything else there? Is that what you wanted to have to win the award?
So, I put, for my who should win column, I had Parasite and The Irishman, because The Irishman I feel is, you know, based on the assumption they were going to pick an English or waterpoint American film.
Yeah.
The Irishman feels like, you know, it's this sort of, it's this, you know, big long film which the Oscars are like, but also it's, as I was saying earlier, like if you like those kind of films, it's pretty much the apex of that kind of genre, I feel. But I think Parasite, I mean, firstly, it represents this sort of way forward for Hollywood on the ring of foreign films, but also it is just the best film there. It's the one that is the most original. Yeah, I'd say it's probably the most original film there. Like, it's the one that, you know, pulls the most punches and does the most interesting. And yeah, I think it's a really annoying one to talk about because I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. I mean,
everyone should see it.
Okay.
And then
I shall. Indeed.
Right.
Go and see it.
And that's Best Picture.
That is Best Picture.
So let's go on to the rest of the categories.
Okay.
It's the Best Actor. I mean, more or less covered. It's Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes.
I mean,
it was good. Do you feel like anyone else should have got it on the?
Adam Driver, I think, has been snubbed. But I feel like Joaquin Phoenix is still the win. Like, the Joker performance was so integral to the film working.
Yeah, and his performance was probably the best part.
Yeah.
But the bits I like aren't the bits I don't like. Sorry, aren't. It's not him.
I think if
it's
anything,
the writing I don't.
Yeah,
like.
it'd be the writing and the direction, I think, where the film probably flounders.
Yeah.
Well, the acting is pretty stellar.
I think he's brilliant.
Yeah.
He's great in the memes. So.
That's what the new Oscar category is the best meme performance.
Best meme performances.
But yeah, Adam Driver was so good in Marriage Story, though. It is actually, it's a shame he's not really, you know, it's just bad timing, really. Yeah. Because problem as well, like
any
Oscars,
other year, you think he would have won?
Because the Oscars always go for the transformative performances, and Joaquin Phoenix was very transformative. So no real contest there, I'm afraid. And then we'll do Best Actress.
Best Actress.
Because that's on the same subject of transformative performances.
Yes.
Renée Zellweger as Judy Garland.
Yeah.
Which I switched my prediction of at the last minute and then immediately regretted. Because, I mean, Saoirse Ronan was so good in Little Women. Like, she... Yeah. I was going to say in a similar way to Joker, which is probably a strange comparison. But in the same way, like, her performance really held the story together. Because it's sort of... the way Little Women's done, I'm not sure if the book's like this as well. Yeah. But Saoirse Ronan's character, who is the protagonist of Little Women, that also sort of acts as like I guess a substitute for the author of the book. And there's sort of bits about her character writing the story autobiographically. It gets quite meta. Yeah. But yeah, it basically she's sort of the glue that holds this entire story together. Yeah. And in doing that, it's just such a strong and believable performance, and also just such a joy to watch as well.
Yeah. But she's always good in everything, isn't she? Like she's never been the worst part of any film she's in. No. Like, she's always brilliant.
I don't.
Also, I've just realised in the Best Actress category, I haven't seen a single film in there. I haven't seen Bombshell. Haven't seen Judy. Haven't seen Harriet. Don't even know what that is.
No, I
haven't seen Marriage Story. I haven't seen Little Women.
I've only seen I haven't seen Harriet or Judy, and I've seen the others. But
Okay.
Bombshell. Let's talk about Bombshell quickly.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, okay, so firstly, it's a really good film. I think
Yeah.
it's been a bit underrated critically.
Yeah.
But it's a film about, you know, the scandal in, like, Fox News where basically
Yes.
the guy in charge of it was, you know, harassing and assaulting basically every woman in the staff for
Yes.
years.
So I've seen bits of this film
Yeah.
just from doing screen checks and
Yeah.
things. And I think, from what I've seen, it's like a very powerful film. Like, it's
Yeah.
one of them you're not supposed to disagree with, you know? Do you
Well,
know what I mean?
that's slightly totalitarian.
Well,
but
yeah.
it's a film where I think its sheer existence in the capacity that it is the strongest merit.
Yeah.
Like, this was a film. I mean, the scandals in 2016, I think. In fact, we've got a film with big budget, like a medium budget of, like, you know, big name actors in it, or like a major release so soon after it shows that we're making progress. We're making this sort of,
Yes.
you
I
know,
also feel like its existence. You're right. Like, its existence is important.
because it will give women the confidence to stand for and, like, no, this isn't okay. You've got to take a stand in your workplace.
But also, like, the calling people out, I feel like, is important, and calling people out in such an intense way.
And what's good about it is the way it's not even that dry as a watch. Like, it takes sort of some pages from, like, The Big Short, like that sort of Adam McKay kind of almost like sort of meta explaining to the audience, but in a way that's quite sort of engaging and also quite entertaining.
Yeah, from the scene I saw, it was like, you know, it was a very strange shot, like just pictures of women like scrolling, like how many of them.
There's sort of a lot of sort of like turning to camera and sort of being like, and this is what really happened, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good film. But what I found slightly, I'm still not sure what the right word for it is, but I'm going to go patronising, is the way that this big, strong feminist piece at the Oscars has been nominated for actress, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
But then makeup and hairstyling.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's like, oh yes, makeup and hairstyling, because there's women in it. Am I right?
Who directed it? Did it win makeup and hairstyling?
It did.
Yeah.
Which is... I don't know who directed it, actually. It was a man.
Oh.
But I think he has done other stuff. I can't remember his name. I did look it up at the time.
Okay. Nice. Great.
Yeah.
That's useful.
Yeah, it's a good film.
Okay.
It's just a shame it didn't get
more recognition.
It's not even that it didn't get any Oscars. It's just I feel slightly ensconced at the whole like makeup and hairstyling.
Yeah, it just
there's
feels
women.
backhanded. Doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, normally makeup and hairstyling is more of like it's an effects category essentially.
Yeah.
It's more. I'd say it's more things like something like 1917 would be
Yes.
more of a makeup and hairstyling kind of thing.
Mm.
But yeah. Anyway, Renée Zellweger won.
She did.
She did transformative performance. It's
Yep.
Why did I change my mind?
Don't know.
No.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. Right.
The supporting
actor.
So I thought Tom Hanks would win this.
I thought, I mean, it's Tom Hanks.
Because Tom Hanks is Tom Hanks.
Exactly.
But also he's playing such a beloved character.
Yeah.
Or person, I should say.
Well, I mean, you could argue Tom Hanks is just a beloved character. How much
I mean, that is
acting?
also true, isn't it? Like,
yeah, but then it's just Brad Pitt and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He sort of drives around in a car and does stuff. That's not it, really. I mean, okay, fine, that's a writing thing, not an acting thing. But I just don't think there's anything Oscar-worthy about the acting in that film. It's just very,
Right.
it's just Brad Pitt.
yeah.
He's doing what he does.
Mm.
You know, there's nothing that
Whereas,
interesting.
but you could say that about Tom Hanks, couldn't you? Like,
I
he's
suppose.
not really pushing.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know, like Forrest Gump is a completely different. He's had to, you know, act completely differently.
You calling Tom Hanks an idiot?
No. Whereas in this, he is just playing a nice old man, which effectively he is. Yeah.
I mean, I abstained on this in terms of the who I thought should win. Because to be honest, I mean, I haven't seen Two Popes.
I want to see Two Popes.
I would like to. Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Yes.
So
I'm interested because everyone seems to love it. And It's got so many.
And the clips I've seen of it
things.
seem quite entertaining.
Yeah. It's Jude Law, isn't it? I think
Maybe
he's definitely in it.
possibly, yeah. But then other than that, I mean, I've seen the rest of them, but none of them. I mean, Al Pacino and Joe Pesci were both fine in The Irishman, but like I don't know, I couldn't choose one. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to pick which one is like, you know, the most deserving. It seemed like a sort of a category this year.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, Brad Pitt won.
There you go.
Best supporting actress, Laura Dern.
Laura Dern. You said at the time that she did a very good job.
She's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes. It's because Laura Dern is such a lovely person,
Yeah.
But in Marriage Story, she's so utterly punchable, which
Yeah.
is why it's such a good performance.
Yeah.
That is a real, like, an absolute...
I mean, again, the only one I've seen here is Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah.
But Scarlett Johansson was very good in Jojo Rabbit, but it's not nothing special. Like,
No,
it's
feel
not
like
necessarily...
It's almost a sort of a difficult thing with when you become like a good actor. It's almost like you've got to work hard to get an Oscar because like you're doing like, what would normally be like a good performance. Like, oh, you always do that. Do something
Also, I don't feel
outstanding.
like if another actress was in that role, they could have done just as well. Like, it wasn't particularly amazing. Like, she did a very good job.
Yeah.
And I liked her in that role, but she wasn't she wasn't a key part of it.
And the thing is, Laura Dern's not won an Oscar until now. She's had a couple of nominations, and she's done a lot of really good roles.
Yeah.
So I think it's good she got that. But Florence Pugh in Little Women is really good.
Fair.
And Florence Pugh is sort of this new rising star. She's been in a couple of things, but I think she sort of made her debut in Lady Macbeth a couple of years back.
Right.
But she was in Midsummer.
Okay.
Did you see?
Not seen Midsummer.
How did you not see Midsummer?
I don't know. It was everywhere.
Oh, well, because you hated Hereditary, so you didn't see Midsummer.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should watch Hereditary.
I should. Anyway.
But Florence Pugh is, besides Saoirse Ronan, is like the other like really strong performers in Little Women.
Yeah.
Like and it's a shame she didn't get the Oscar this year. But same with like Adam Driver and Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah. Laura Dern was just so utterly believable in her role.
Yeah.
Also, the other thing of that is, it's not just that she's like this punchable lawyer, but she is essentially the this sort of the driving force of the degradation of marriage, because they're basically like still friends on good terms, but they we need a divorce, things have happened, and then Laura Dern comes in and basically like drives them to hating each other. Like, she's this main source of opposition in the film.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the performances work, because it was such a central element of the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, Florence Pugh, I think another year she'll win.
Okay.
But
just quickly, I feel, again, I haven't seen it, but I've done screen checks for Richard Jewell.
Oh yes.
And Kathy Bates is very good in that film.
Yes.
Just from the couple of scenes I've seen, she's very good, and everyone else said she's been very very good in that film.
On the ceremony itself, when I have the clips of the performances, her performance now is good.
Yeah, I feel like she was very good. I mean,
Kathy Bates is Kathy Bates. She's amazing. In
she's very good in everything. Yeah.
But yeah, she's, how old is she now?
She's got to be getting on, hasn't she?
Yeah,
she's been grey for a long time.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Okay.
Oh no. Well, we'll move on. We're running up time, so we'll move on.
Or are you gonna ask me about Misery?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I have seen Misery. Right. Best director. Bong Joon-ho.
Yes, Bong Joon-ho.
He does it.
Yeah, he does.
Because it's a very well directed film, and also he's a great director. And it's
also, I feel like I mean, it's always weird to me that best film and best director, when they go to different people.
Yes.
Because they feel like they should go hand in hand, and it's almost strange that they're different categories.
And James Gunn made a comment about that a while ago, and for a while I always thought best director was basically like best runner-up picture, but then that's been proved wrong because firstly this year, and then also Guillermo del Toro won for Shape of Water, and then Shape of Water won as well. So, it's a strange division because
I feel like they're very subtle differences, aren't they?
I mean, I suppose you could have a film that's so I thought maybe Sam Mendes was going to win because the amount of to be fair, there's an army of ADs or something like 1917, but when you've got that kind of one shot thing and so many extras, so many sets, the level of control you've got to maintain in the direction, and especially with getting the actors right for all those extended scenes is going to take a lot of effort.
So that's another thing, like we could mention about 1917. I think 1917's direction was very good. It was just let down by its writing
absolutely,
and pacing as well.
So I could see the award going separately, and 1917 wasn't the best picture of the year, but it was well directed. So I could see that split happening, which is why I voted for it.
But that's a very interesting difference, isn't it? Like, a film can be very good, but can a film be good with bad direction? Because that's the thing, isn't it? Like, I feel like the difference is you can have a film that's got good director, but what raises it up is the performances, the VFX, and whatever, the editing. That could make it collectively the best film, but not win best director.
I mean, you could argue something like winding reference films like Neon Demon or Drive.
Yeah.
I mean, well, that's a whole argument whether you consider that good directing, because the performance is always very stilted, which also feels deliberate.
But that's the same with Wes Anderson, isn't it?
Yeah. So do you think Wes Anderson's a good director? and I sort of know your answer to this.
The thing is, I don't really like any of his films.
No,
but they're not bad films.
he seems like he'd be better as a like a production designer rather than like a director as such. Because again, he says quite. But again, is the still performance part of his act?
Well,
like,
yes, it is, isn't it? It's part of his aesthetic.
But it's strange to have something that's almost objectively a negative quality as part of your deliberate style.
It's just strange. Like, I feel like, but we had this conversation before. Like, it only works for certain actors. Like, only certain actors can pull it off. And I feel like, luckily, he's managed to get an entourage of these actors, like Bill Murray, who's very good at pulling off the, stilted, very
dry, sort of like
dry
deadpan delivery.
Yes. Yeah. And I feel like Bill Murray's very good at doing that, but some other actors aren't, and that's where they fall down. And I don't know. Like, I feel like his films are good, but I do not like his directing.
Yeah.
But is that bad direction? Because I don't know if it necessarily is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a strange. I'm now going to be spending weeks trying to think of an example of film that I love with bad direction. But then bad direction's a subjective thing to pin down, really.
Yeah.
Because also, unlike something like cinematography, it's a relatively invisible element.
Yeah.
You can sort of just feel it from the way everything else gels together. It's
Yeah.
So essentially, best control over a project.
Well, because so something that a film like I enjoy but has got bad direction, I think is Ant-Man.
Okay.
Because
haven't seen it.
So Edgar Wright, Edgar Wright obviously was signed up and then he quit because they didn't give him enough creative control.
Yeah.
And then they got some other knobhead in. But there's so many Edgar Wright elements in it, so you can tell that I feel like if they'd let him write it and direct it however we wanted, it probably would be or could have been the best MCU film. Because his directing is so powerful. Yeah. Whereas
and
this
so sort
new
of
guy,
snappy and sort of slick. Yeah.
You can see the Edgar Wright in it, but you can obviously the difference between the Edgar Wright bits and the bits that the other guys directed is huge.
Yeah.
So the other guy's direction it's not like bad, but it's sloppy and it's nowhere near as tight and concise as Edgar Wright. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not necessarily. But is that again bad direction, or is it just okay direction compared to very good direction?
Well, I think the problem there is because the director switched out, and it's sort of
that's always
a mixed vision. So it's not so much bad directing as just like damage the wrong
control.
fit. It's like perfectly crafting a dress to someone's body, but putting it on someone else.
Yeah.
It might have been a fine dress for that person, but it's now someone else can't benefit it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Right. Anyway,
on the plus side,
Quentin
Tarantino didn't win.
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go.
So.
Okay. Moving on.
Score.
Joker. Everyone says Joker enjoyed it. I personally liked. Out of those, I liked 1917 a lot.
Yeah.
1917. Also, I feel like Rise of Skywalker was okay.
Yeah, I mean,
but you're right. Again, we've talked about this before, but it is rinse and repeat, isn't it? Yeah.
Which is unfair because there are new compositions and sort of not remixes, but taking old themes and sort of playing around them. But it's still essentially the same music.
But the other thing is, you're right. Like, because John Williams is so good, he has to work so hard to then get.
It wasn't anything like groundbreaking.
Yeah, like he is brilliant.
I mean, 1917, as I've saying before, I've heard some people say it's too, sort of overbearing and melodramatic. Which, I mean, I think it's probably just a matter of taste. Because I really like, something like sort of the main theme, well, one of the credits at least, I find really interesting. Like, I think that's really...
I don't mind the score, like... From what I remember, like, maybe that's the reason why I was like, oh, can you stop making it so downtrodden?
Oh, wait, I was talking about 1917.
Oh, you're talking about 1917. Sorry, I thought you were talking about
you just said you liked it.
No. So like
1917, I really liked. Like the main sort of theme ends.
I really liked 1917. I feel like it added this sense of pace and
there's sort of tension
threat
to it.
That because you haven't got editing or varying cinematography. Like,
no, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. I feel like its score really helped. It filled in those blanks where they technically couldn't do it elsewhere. The music really
helped give it that
out.
Sort of rhythm. I mean,
that's enough of that.
I can't remember anything. I remember Marriage Story reminded me so much of Toy Story, and I've realised it's because it's Randy Newman did it. But I remember there was one moment I'm like, is this just a Toy Story thing? Like at the end credits.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't remember Little Women's score much. I mean, yeah, Joker. I can't remember her name, but the composer of that also did Chernobyl. And she's been doing a lot of things recently. Yeah, but it's all string music. It's all quite. Because it has a sort of haunting quality to it, which I think fit Joker quite well.
Like, quickly, comparing that score again to... Do you think that the score fits the Joker?
Yeah.
Because if you look at Hans Zimmer's score for Heath Ledger, like, they go so well together.
Like, that's more of a sort of a chaotic score, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think he is pure chaos.
I think that sort of outlines the difference in the characters, because the Heath Ledger Joker was a very sort of chaotic character, and the score fits that. Well, this is more of a tragedy, almost. I was going to say Shakespearean. That's a bit harsh. Like too much, but like, you know, it's a character. It's a tragedy. It's a sort of downtrodden.
But maybe that could be part of the reason why I was like so sick of.
Because it's too mopey.
Because the score is constantly
like
you know what? But even in his highs, it's still like, oh, he's miserable. It's like, yes, please move on.
Okay, right. Animated feature.
What a piss take.
Yeah, of course it's going to be Toy Story 4, because it's Pixar, and Pixar always wins.
Yeah.
It's essentially proven. Which stinks, there was some good... Like, Klaus and I Lost My Body were both very interesting, sort of independent...
Even Missing Link was like
that was
original,
motion,
wasn't it? Yeah, and stop motion. And
it's a shame, because Studio Laika, I love them as a company, because they're basically like single-handedly keeping stop motion alive.
Yeah.
But I've never really...
Aardman's there as well.
Yeah, but how often do Aardman make films?
Well, true.
Or Studio Laika been doing film almost like certainly every other year, I think. Problem is, I've never actually liked... I didn't really like Paranorman, and I thought Cuba and the Two Strings was sort of there. I
haven't seen them, I've heard that's good.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, like, I want to love them, but I don't.
Right.
I feel a bit bad. But I mean, I've been happy for it to win. Just anything except Toy Story 4.
Thing is, I liked Klaus. Like, Klaus, especially this animation style, I thought was... It was
a really nice sort of, like...
But also, it's not...
nostalgic style, almost.
Yeah, but what I liked is that it wasn't trying to be perfect. Like, it had these very angular characters.
Yeah.
But also, it did this very cool thing with, like, angles. You know, making people look bigger and smaller, like depending from whose point of view it was. That nothing else.
There was a lot of character in the way it was like sort of drawn and shot, which is something I think with something like Toy Story 4, it's almost going for like a photorealistic 3D look. You don't quite get because it's trying to be too objective almost. Or with hand drawn stuff, you can be so much more like expressionistic.
Yes. But like Toy Story 4 looks like, I mean, as you said, it's photorealistic. It looks very good.
It's I mean, for the technology side, it is cutting edge. Like some of the lighting engines and that. But like it's just, you know.
But that, I don't know. I don't want to say it feels soulless.
No, I mean it's a good film. I enjoyed it.
But it's got stuff behind it, but it just doesn't feel like that should have got it on top of.
It just feels like, you know, in like the sort of the high school movie when you got like the big jock team and they're all really rich. They've got rich parents, and then you have got the underdog team. Yeah, who've got more spirit, and then the big rich kids win anyway. This is what this feels like.
It's just.
It's like it's not a bad film. It's just I feel other films should have won.
Like Klaus should have won.
Okay, original screenplay.
So,
have you seen any of these?
No.
No, I've not seen Knives Out.
I've seen 1917.
Knives Out.
Knives Out as well.
Yeah, it's a shame that's the only thing it got nominated for. And then
I feel like
it was my favourite of 2019. And it didn't get anything. Which is a shame.
It's a shame. I enjoyed Knives Out, but I feel like it's right. I understand why it didn't get best screenplay. Like, I don't know, it felt a little bit too convoluted for
for the Academy to understand.
Not that, but you know what I mean. Like, I mean, I haven't seen Parasite, but let's say compared to 1917, that's got this. You know, I don't know why it's original screenplay when he based it on his granddad's life or whatever.
Yeah, but that wasn't a book. I think is the point.
Because
because my sister was saying with Knives Out, does that count as original screenplay when it's sort of inspired by Agatha Christie novels?
Well, yeah.
But I think it's not. Cause it's not inspired by. It's not a direct adaptation.
Did you see it's getting a sequel?
I did see. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I say sequel, I hope they mean spin-off with Daniel Craig rather
Yes,
than a direct sequel.
So it's got none of the only returning character
That's good.
is Daniel Craig.
Because that wouldn't work.
No.
But I think a spin-off with Benoit Blanc, like a sort of semi
So, well, that's
satirical
the thing.
Yeah, that would be
like,
really good.
He's meant to be like a modern day Poirot, isn't
Yeah, but I like that. I think that there's a lot of humour to be had in that character, I think.
I feel like he's great as well.
Yeah.
He was very good actually in that film. Like I really liked him in that, as well as God, what's her name? Anna de Armas. Yeah, she was very good.
Together in the new James Bond as well.
Is she in that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
But Lea Seydoux has also come back for that, so I don't know who's the Bond girl in that or what, or how that's going to go down.
Don't know. Anyway,
back to the Oscars. Yeah. So, Parasite won. I think Parasite was the most deserving. Can't really discuss why, but it's well written. Parasite's a really annoying film to talk about, I've got to say.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the day when the embargo is off and people can talk about it freely, because it deserves so much discussion, but to do so would completely ruin it. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, 1917 wasn't going to win, because that was a mess.
The thing is, 1917, I don't know, it feels strange that it got nominated in the first place.
Yeah.
Because its writing is by far its weakest part,
Yeah.
I think.
But, I mean...
Well, what do you think of the actors in 1917? Like, so the two main boys.
I think the acting's fine, but I think the problem is they're not given enough to really do as such.
Yes.
And I mean, there's the other problem, which I think they've done quite well, because the nature of long takes mean they're, they can't rely on editing the same as performance. They've got to keep acting, firstly through like multiple really long takes to get it right. So I think some of them were like, they did 30 takes of it, and they like 10, 15 minute long shots. So to keep acting through that and keep it up is really good. So there's a lot of skill there.
The other thing is, but I feel like you're right in a way. Like they don't, because of the way it's filmed, they can't really show off as much as they could have done.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to. In a way, it feels rehearsed, and that's because it was. Because they said, I think they rehearsed for 6 months before actually even rolling the cameras, and like that's a lot.
It feels it, yeah.
And you can tell. It feels very rehearsed, which I mean, it's not. The performances are still good, but I just feel like there's definitely a reason they're not.
They're not as. That's all not as organic, almost.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. And then, Marriage Story was also very well written. Although, I mean, certainly not as good as Parasite, Knives Out. Those are definitely the two sort of front runners for me.
Yeah.
And then Hollywood can go screw itself.
Did you not like the writing in that?
What, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yeah.
The film devoid of plot.
Yeah.
The film which is 2
hours.
hours.
What is the plot of that film? Give me a quick rundown.
Basically, so Leonardo DiCaprio was like a TV cowboy. Yeah. And then it's the 60s and all that stuff's washed up. And then he's like, oh, I want to be an actor, but there's no jobs. And someone's like, here's a job as a cowboy in a film. Oh, I'm really good at being cowboys on a film. The film's done well. I'm moving to Italy to go do more cowboy films. That's the plot.
Okay, so how does Charlie Manson come in?
And then at the end...
Yeah.
Okay, so while Leonardo DiCaprio is swanning about being a cowboy, Brad Pitt's driving around Hollywood and he picks up some underage girl.
Right.
And she leads him to a commune who are sort of with the Mansons.
Yeah.
And they're sort of probably one of the better parts of the film, which is sort of like almost like horror movie-esque kind of scene, sort of deliverance-y. Where sort of Brad Pitt sort of wants to try and get out of there before he's like killed by this sort of like encroaching Manson followers. Yeah. But yeah, and then that sort of just is there, and then doesn't happen. And then we get to the end, and then it's like they're on a plane, and it's been about 2 hours, and then the narrator goes, "Oh, and then he went back home, and a Manson family was around." It's like, and the what? And then there's the final sequence where they're just sort of like, basically it's a home invasion sequence where Manson's trying to kill Margot Robbie's character and get the wrong house.
Margot Robbie's in that film.
Yeah.
I didn't even...
Oh, sorry. Let me go back to the plot. Margot Robbie's an actress, specifically Sharon Tate. She goes to a cinema where her film's playing. Yeah. She watches the film. Yeah. That's her plot.
Wow.
That's what she does. For 2 hours, we cut back every so often. She's just sitting there and like, this is a good film I'm in. And then it cuts away.
God, what?
Yeah. It's a mess of a film. And it's so boring.
Okay.
But yeah, an utter mess of writing. So,
Okay.
Didn't deserve that.
Cool.
Didn't get it.
Alright. Moving on.
Documentary feature. Right. I've got a theory about this.
Yep.
A theory that got proved wrong, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Yep.
Because I was reckoning, considering, the Academy being what they are, I thought any documentary that sort of,
exposes the flaws in America, and you know, also like anything to do with terrorism that they're involved in.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't get the Oscar because they want something like nice and relaxing. So originally I was going to say Honeyland because that's about a European bee farmer. That sounded quite wholesome.
Yeah.
Well, things like
I've heard that's really good actually.
Yeah. It's got, I think it was nominated for something else as well. I can't remember what. But yeah, and then American Factory, which won. So for example, that was about like a factory of like a slave factory like in China, which has some like I think it's owned by an American company, and sort of exposing what's going on there. And The Edge of Democracy, while not about America, it was about like Brazilian politics and corruption, but obviously analogues to the current US presidency. And then For Summer, which isn't actually, I don't think they ever say anything about America specifically, but it's the Syrian sort of uprising and refugee stuff. So there's some sort of indirect guilt to American audiences supposedly. But yeah, I thought maybe they'd go for something safe like Honeyland, but didn't. They went for American Factory, which is good. Yeah, I think it's good they're acknowledging that stuff. But on a related note, even For Summer, really good film.
I really want to watch that film.
It's available on all four.
Yeah,
it's for free. Everyone should go watch it. It's sort of, it's one of his documentaries. It's a hard watch, but it's absolutely like eye opening.
Yeah,
and it's.
Have you seen? I think it's called 5 Cameras.
I haven't, no.
Because that's really good, and that gives me For Summer gives me very very similar vibes.
I think the nice thing about For Summer is we have, for all the news and stuff, there's a lot of sort of dehumanization with like the Syrian refugees. We sort of don't feel empathy. But what's great about For Summer is we see that they're literally just the same as us. They they laugh and they joke, and they're just normal human beings. Yeah. And they're going through this horrific crisis over there. Yeah. And there's some genuinely tough moments, but it brilliant documentary. Yeah. I haven't seen the others, so I can't comment. But it is a shame For Summer didn't win, I think. Okay. But yeah.
Have you seen American Factory?
I haven't. I might, if these are available anywhere that I can get access to them, which I hope they are. I'll try and The Cave. I didn't notice that there. I don't know what The Cave's about. Oh, sorry, The Cave.
Sorry, The Cave.
But yeah. Right. Adapted screenplay. That's Jojo Rabbit, Taika Waititi.
Yep. Good. Deserved.
Yeah. We've mentioned that already.
I feel like, again, citation needed. I feel like he said when he adapted it, I saw an interview with him. Yeah. The book itself isn't a comedy. No. So he's obviously changed it a lot and poured a lot of himself into it because it's very him. But do you know what I mean? Like it's very identifiably
Taika Waititi. Yeah. It's got that stamp on it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like that is. I mean, is it a good adaptation if you change it that much?
Well, I think I'd say that is the nature of adaptation to change it. Yeah. And like, because with Black Klansman, for example, last year, which won adapted screenplay, that was like a very dry, essentially almost like a historical non-fiction like document of the case, which then got turned into sort of like Spike Lee comedy. So I think part of the merit of adapted screenplay Oscar is like the sort of how creative of a translation you can do almost. So I think that's probably one of the reasons it won, besides being really funny.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, that's an interesting thing, isn't it? Like, well, all I'm thinking about now is like the difference in it's different for me. Well, in Game of Thrones, like half the reason that was as successful as it was is
it was quite a direct translation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, reading the book
to a point.
To a point, yeah. But reading the book, there is, like full page excerpts. Like the dialogue is exactly the same as in the book. Like it's down to the to a T. Whereas, I mean that's obviously a very good adaptation. Everyone loves it. But is that a good screenplay then?
Or is because it's not. It's sort of not enough work gone into it originally, and it's sort of just like
but it then stands on. As we know from seeing future seasons, like
once you take
the good writing is from George R.R. Martin. It's not from.
I remember that support structure just got it. It collapses quite fast. Yeah.
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 So you would say that a good screenplay is something that takes the source material and
does something
and changes it, makes it its own.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Okay.
Speaking of adapted screenplay, Joker got nominated. It's like not being.
Which is, yeah.
But when we were talking about Knives Out earlier, being like loosely based on Agatha Christie, but not based on Agatha Christie Agatha Christie novels, but not on any one specific novel. And that got original. But Joker is the same, but it's under adapted.
Agatha Christie. Sorry, I can't get over that. That's quality.
But it's interesting to Joker because it's not based on any.
I mean, as far as I'm aware, it's not based on any direct.
Has it got Killing Joke in it at all? Do you think? I don't know. Killing Joke.
Don't really know. I mean, it's probably got elements of different ones, but again, they've taken it and made it complete their own. But
then it's adapted screenplay. Which is
also, he's
strange.
such a well-known character.
Yeah.
You can't really give it originals. You know, it's not.
I suppose is that the argument
to the extent that it's got pre-existing IPs in.
So maybe that's why. Maybe it's just if it has a character of that kind of nature that's been written by someone else. You've sort of
because you could say that Knives Out is completely original, isn't it? Like it may be
based on,
like
it's inspired by,
yeah.
And say Life on Mars is like it's inspired by the Sweeney, but it's not in any way affiliated as such. Yeah. Okay.
Whereas the Joker has like thousands of comic books
to draw on,
loads of other films,
and I mean there's bits of like there's elements of the Batman origin story and stuff. Anyway,
because I mean, Bruce Wayne is in it. Thomas Wayne.
And I mean, there's the famous thing that happens to Bruce Wayne's parents, in case anyone doesn't know that, is in it. So I mean, I suppose that's
again like so. Just quickly going back to that scene,
right?
So I can't remember what comic book it is. I think it's The Dark Knight Rises. No, that's the film.
Dark Knight. Is it Dark Knight Returns?
Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
Is it? I think it's in that one. It's got like those 6 or 7 panels in it, and in Batman vs Superman, right? One of the best parts about that was they did that scene almost exactly the same as in the comic. Like he literally took the panels and made it, and they sort of did that, but not as well as Zack Snyder did it. I feel like they sort of.
When you're doing it worse than Zack Snyder, you've got a problem.
Well, no, because Zack Snyder's very good at that particular thing, you know. Whereas in the Joker, they sort of, I don't know whether they did it differently specifically because of BVS, or I don't know, but it's like it was obviously very inspired by that. Like they've got the very intense close up of the gun and the bullets coming out, and it's like that. It is obviously inspired, but it's just nowhere near as good as Zack Snyder did it. It's just weird. It's just also it's such a high art and high regarded piece. It's interesting that Zack Snyder did something better than it.
I just feel the whole having that scene with his parents was out of place in the Joker. Like it seemed like it was tacked in.
I feel like it really, especially considering it's all. Well, because that's more meant to be like, his death was
responsible by the Joker. But indirectly.
Indirectly, but
like I have no problem with them being in the story at all, like they are. But I feel like just having that scene there, it felt.
And I feel like Thomas Wayne fit into that story quite well.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne,
which was nice
sort
of
like.
I feel that scene was slightly shoehorned in.
I feel actually now you mentioned it was sort of wedged in.
Yeah.
I feel like that was wedged in because it was like, oh look. This is more origin,
Yeah, and then it's like we're not here for Batman's origin.
Yeah, we've seen Batman's origin
so many times. It always felt like a parody at one point because it's just like, oh, it's this scene. Oh, this one we've seen hundreds of times. Yeah, okay.
But it was just so weird, especially in the world they had set up, where like, the streets are literally filled with murderous rioters.
Yeah.
Why would they go out and do that? It's like. Yeah. Whereas in say Batman Begins, they just leave the theatre and go down an alley and that's it.
Yeah.
Whereas in that it's like, oh yeah, the whole city's in alright, let's fucking go out.
Because in Batman Begins, isn't it? Because Bruce Wayne gets scared, so they leave halfway through, so they go through the fire exit, which is why
he's like, oh, it's my fault.
Yeah, but this one is like, they just come out normally. Or do they come out in the alley anyway for no reason? I can't remember.
I think they go because the streets are blocked by rioters, so they go down the alley and then someone's like, bang. I mean, we've spoken about the Joker more than anything else.
Probably, yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. I have more to say about the Joker, but let's move on.
We'll save it for another time.
Yeah.
So. Right, cinematography.
Right, here we go. Okay.
Roger Deakins is an amazing cinematographer.
Yes.
and there's a lot of skill and merit went into 1917.
Yes.
But
for different reasons.
Yeah.
And I think... I was thinking about this. So we had this conversation about how the one shot is very limiting. Like, even though it's almost all cinematography, it's actually limiting because they have to stay at the same height in a wide shot.
Yes.
Can't really get close-ups.
No, you can't do any crazy angles. You sort of got to stay within a certain range at all times.
Which loses you a lot of...
sort of sculpting of the image.
Yeah, because you can imply so much from cinematography, which they lose in it. However, I think the reason it's won is because of...
the effort involved.
Yeah, the sheer... like you were saying, like, the actors themselves, that's great that they... Mm. It was a challenge for them, but it was also a massive challenge to choreograph the camera work as well. Like, that's...
Well, I find it quite interesting as well with films that have done the one take thing. Like, think about Russian Ark and Birdman and Victoria. All those films did it with a steady camera and like basically handheld the entire thing.
Mm.
And over relatively, I know the museum is quite a big thing in Russian Art, but it's relatively a small location.
Yeah.
Well, 1917 has such a large span of areas to do it over.
Yeah.
And the fact that they seamlessly switch between various vehicles and the setups, I think is quite innovative.
There's only a very occasional, like, obviously there's one edit that's very obvious.
Yes.
Which is where he blacks
out. Talked about it in detail.
But I feel like there are a couple of other hidden edits.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, there was occasionally when he goes into a bunker, it's like, they've edited that, like, cut there.
It's very clear when it's like, the screen's been completely black for at least 3 seconds.
Yeah, stuff like that. But other than that, like, from, when, right at the end, when he climbs out of the trench and starts running, like, that is a very, very seamless change. Yeah. Because that's from handheld onto a truck, isn't it? And it's like, that's very, very well done. Mm. And I feel like that I mean, I know why it's won it. It's because it's technically a massive achievement, isn't it?
So while the cinematography is like a problem with the film, it's
also a merit.
Yeah, it was very. I mean, it was innovative. It did do a lot of good stuff.
Mm. I feel like if you compare that to, let's say, the opening of Spectre, which is again Sam Mendes, one shot.
Yeah, kind of sort of edits and stuff.
Yeah. Whereas their hidden edits are a lot more
obvious.
I feel
especially when he's on the interior or exterior, to be honest.
Well, yeah. He'll walk past a fucking wall and it's like, oh, there you go.
Oh yes, the camera that can pass through walls.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, okay, it's a lot more clear in Spectre where the edits are.
Yeah,
and I feel like they've managed to hone it so much that it is almost seamless and it flows a lot better.
Yeah.
But it has got those problems of angles and
But I think the thing is that's still, you could say that's like an experiment, an ambitious experiment that's failed in some areas. But still the ambition is worth the reward.
But I feel like it does, again, speaking about like the cinematography, takes away from perhaps the reason we didn't feel they were as characters didn't have as much characterization as they could have had. Is you don't get any reaction shots.
Yeah,
and half the time the camera's behind them. You're like watching them walking, which again it like works for the flow, but it's
because you don't get those close-ups, there's sort of an emotional disconnect in the cinematography.
Yeah.
Where
like,
you're not as
especially when Tommen, the blonde one, is telling the stories. He's like trying to make him laugh.
Yeah,
like you don't get to see their faces, and it's like
that's in wide shot, isn't it?
That's a wide shot, and also you're watching them walk through the trenches. Yeah. Like, so you don't really get that.
You feel like you're sort of watching them rather than being with them. In the way a film should. Yeah,
but you don't get that emotional connection you should to them, and I feel like that's because in that case you would want to cut it to in front of them and have the reaction
sort of like a
shots
two-shot kind of thing and watch them. Yeah,
but I mean it's
it was sort of
I don't know.
I can sort of I'm fine with it winning really.
Yeah.
Although The Lighthouse,
which
you haven't seen yet,
no,
but that's fair because it's only just come out.
Yeah.
It's been in like no theatres.
Yeah.
But I've got to say it's shot in black and white and in like the movie tone ratio. So I mean already it's sort of like, edgy student kind of levels. But like the thing is within that it's only the lighting that is very. Very well done. Like, there's a lot of really good, interesting sort of sculpting of the lighting.
Yeah.
And without spoiling anything, the way it sort of like it shows like duality of characters like through lighting is quite interesting. So yeah, I think, and also The Lighthouse was a fucking brilliant film.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that this is the only
Only
mention
thing
of it
got
at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that could have also been worthy winner. I mean, I suppose
Joker?
Roger Deakins probably is more.
Well,
I'm trying to think which should win of the two of them. I suppose Roger Deakins probably edges out in terms of ambition, certainly.
was it ambition
Skill.
and yeah, like skill,
Yeah.
like his talent is very, very clear.
Yeah.
I think.
But yeah,
I mean, and for the Joker again, like
I don't remember much of the Joker's cinematography, to be honest.
I don't remember it being noticeably good.
No, I
You know,
remember it being
like,
fine.
Yeah, it was fine. I
Yeah.
don't think it was amazing.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm just trying to think, like, was there anything that was particularly good that I
No.
missed?
Well, it's the same with Irishman as well. Like, it seemed pretty sort of straightforward, really. And then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood can go suck a dick. I mean, cinematography wasn't too bad. It was alright.
They were shot well, aren't they?
Yeah, there's nothing too wrong with it. I just
Okay.
don't like the film. I don't want to get Oscars.
Fair enough.
Right. Sound mixing. We'll do sound mixing and editing together because,
Yeah, because
as I've said before,
same thing.
Same thing. Although this year, different winners.
Different winners.
Ooh. So,
Oh,
1971 for mixing,
yes.
and then Ford vs Ferrari for editing.
But they were both quite sound-heavy
Yes,
things, aren't they?
I think, and I sort of mentioned this in my tweet that it's almost like an excuse to honour two films for
Two
the sound.
films for the same
and there was
thing.
some really strong contenders for sound this year,
Yeah.
like Ad Astra.
Ad Astra was just weird because, like, I feel like it could have got. Oh, I mean, I don't know. Its editing, its sound editing was
Yeah.
brilliant. I thought, like, Ad Astra, the best part of it was
the sound.
the sound,
Yeah.
like how good it was. Also, I really liked the editing
Yeah, it's a shame we got
and special effects in.
very overlooked. I feel. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think that could have, if it had nominated, it could have, potentially swept some of the technicals.
Because yeah, it was very good. Like the
Yeah.
same way. I don't know why. Like people loved Gravity, but didn't really like Ad Astra.
I
And
love
it's like,
both.
well, I really like. I mean, Gravity's okay, but I really liked Ad Astra. But I wonder what the
difference is.
yeah, like why was it the sci-fi elements? Do you think?
I think. I mean, there's some clumsiness in Ad Astra's
Also, it's-
characterization.
Yeah, and its
And, like,
execution was a bit.
Iffy.
Yeah.
Well, I think Gravity. I mean, Gravity certainly has it's a small, straightforward story, and it's a bit more
Yeah.
sort of like a it's simple on like a primal level. It's just about
Yeah.
survival. While Ad Astra's a bit more.
I feel like I need to rewatch
Psychological.
Gravity because that's one of the films that the trailer made me not like it.
We went to see that together, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, the thing of Gravity is because I know a lot of people who don't like it, and I'm like, how did you watch it? I'm like, I watched it on Netflix with the lights on while I was half paying attention. Like, that's
yeah.
why. Because we watched it in a cinema in 3D.
Yeah.
And I
Very
think
immersive, isn't it? It's like-
without that setting,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
wouldn't work. And I
Yeah.
can see why people don't like it without it. Then that's not.
It's probably the same for Ad Astra then, isn't it? Like that was a very cinematic experience. I think.
Maybe, yeah.
Also-
We'll see. It's
yeah.
probably coming out soon.
Yeah.
Give it another watch.
Like I enjoyed it. I feel like it didn't. Maybe it was the story wasn't that good, was it?
No, well, it's
And
sort of
none
Apocalypse
the
Now
characters
light.
They weren't very likable. And Brad Pitt's
No.
the whole thing about
The-
keeping your heart rate down. Like,
The pulse thing is such a bizarre choice. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, his pulse never goes above 70, and it's like, okay, weird flex, but okay.
yeah, so strange.
Yeah, I mean, but that didn't win mixing.
No.
But no. But 917, good sound.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, and then
But also, I feel like 1917 did a really good job of making the sounds, like the gunshots especially were very like, oh my god,
yeah, and the explosion. In
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Devon Trench was like,
oh my god, yeah.
God. Well, I did a screen check, and I sort of. I was trying to be like all sort of calm and cool, and I jumped when the
Yeah,
explosion came. I wasn't looking at the screen.
Yeah,
I was like,
but
oh,
I
that's really
remember that
cool.
bit making me jump, and I remember gunshots, especially when he's running through the French village.
Yeah.
The gunshots just crack off, and it's like, oh my god. Like,
Reminds me of Dunkirk. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
the first gunshots in that when he's in the street.
Yeah.
It sounds it's like volcanically loud.
but yeah, I really like that having them that loud comparing to everything else.
Yeah.
Because if you look at like action films, like the gunshots are just part of the background,
Yeah.
aren't they?
Yeah. Unless have you seen Heat?
No.
Because Heat, they did they made a point of not using any stock sound effects for the guns, and the guns in that firstly are so loud, but
Yeah.
they sound so different to any other film guns. They
Yeah.
sound so realistic, and it gives the whole shootout scene such this air of authenticity.
Yeah.
Watch
Well, like
Heat,
in
it's good.
1917, it's like makes them so dangerous, doesn't it? Because they're so loud and they encompass everything, don't they? And he's like running around, just hear the really massive bangs. It's like, oh my god. Anyway, moving on.
Right, visual effects. So, I was hedging my bets a bit here because I said Irishman because it's a new technology.
Yes.
It's sort of de-aging, and I think it was implemented because visual effects is all about enhancing a story without being seen. Well, considering the Irishman's visual effects are quite subtle, it's a new art form, and I think it was implemented quite well. I thought that would win.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's probably too subtle for the Academy.
Yeah.
They went with 1917, which, to be fair, I mean, there's a lot of stitching together.
There's a lot of good stuff. Yeah.
And a lot of, I mean, they built a lot of the sets, but I didn't realise there's quite a lot of it was sort of CGI'd in later, which is fair. I suppose
also, so much of it, like the practical effects was really good. Like the No Man's Land looks amazing, doesn't it? And
there's things like when the plane crashes, that would have been transitioned from a VFX to a practical effect.
Yeah.
And that was basically seamless.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's a fair win.
Yeah, I like that.
While we're here, Lion King.
Oh, crying out loud.
Visual effects.
How?
Interesting.
It should be an animation, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's not. It's an animation.
Yeah.
It's like not like they went out and filmed the lions.
What's weird is you could argue it's impressive in that it's sort of photorealistic look, and it's almost entirely constructed, but then looks quite realistic. But that's detrimental to the story.
But then why is Toy Story not in visual effects then?
Yeah. Wow.
But if they're going for the same thing, which is absolute realism, having Toy Story have the being as real as possible, which is exactly what bloody Lion King's supposed to do. Why are they not in the same category?
Yeah. And what's weird is because Toy Story 4 knows it's in terms of its realism, it's mainly going for lighting engines.
Yeah.
While all the characters are still very much an animated, because they know if they go live action with all the humans and then have all these weird toys that are photorealistic, it will become Uncanny Valley. Yeah. Lion King, however, is like, nah, fuck it, lions can sing.
But also, having seen Lion King, it's so bad because of this terrible realism that none of the characters can emote. None of them are like Scar. Scar's he was scary, wasn't he? He was like good, and that bit, the like Long Live the King, like background goes completely dark, and you just have him lit with these orange and red lights.
In the original one, he has this sort of the posture and sort of his gait was quite villainous. So there's a lot of character in the way.
He's also got like the yellow eyes, the black hair. He looks
and the scar
and the scar, but he looks so villainous and he looks evil. Whereas in the bloody live action, inverted commas, live action remake, he just is a lion. He's just like, he doesn't look any different from
the other lions.
Yeah, from any of the other lions. And it's like, okay. And sorry, I get really angry about this.
That's why I mentioned
it. Annoying. God, the toucan. What's the bird?
Zazu.
Yeah, Zazu.
Toucan.
Is he a toucan?
I think so. Is he a toucan?
I don't know.
I've not thought about it. I just thought he was a bird.
Well, anyway, Zazu.
Yeah.
Doesn't work at all as a live action thing because he's so like small and emotive, but he's got this face and he's Rowan Atkinson and it's like got this really good comedic element to it, and it like, especially in I Just Can't Wait to Be King, he's constantly getting squashed and you get these excellent animation things. Whereas in the live action thing, they just have to like outrun him because they can't squash it because they'll fucking die. It's like
the problem with trying to take something that's animated and then and have this sort of inherent sort of like cartoon logic to it, and then try and make it live action, and you lose all that character and sort of
but
meaning.
Especially I Just Can't Wait to Be King in the original is pure animation. It's like it's so good and it's so well done in animation. Like you cannot do it live action, which is proof because in the live action one, it's terrible.
They literally can't do it.
Yeah, it doesn't. But they have to change so much about it, and it is rubbish.
Yeah, it's a song that runs entirely on cartoon logic. Yeah, which is what makes
it so
animals
stacked. The backgrounds are animal print or tribal print,
which is why animation's so good because it can do things live action can't. It can conjure these images that anything you can think of can be done, and it can represent whatever. While in live action, he's like, we've got physics to think of.
Yeah, but it's just so bad. It's like so just poorly done, and they have to just cut it off as quickly as they can because they know that it's like, this is terrible. Let's move on.
Yeah,
it's just bad. It's just bad.
It's just bad.
Gets right on my tits.
Do you want to talk about costume design?
Sure.
I mean,
as you say, the period piece wins.
yeah,
They're all period pieces.
So the oldest one.
The
wins.
oldest one won.
Little Women.
It's interesting that 1917 didn't get nominated for it. Because, again, I thought they did a good job of costume design in 1917.
See, I'd argue costume design for 1917 because it's all just, military outfits.
Yeah, but they've got to be accurate military outfits as well, haven't they?
I suppose, but are they designing them as such as just simply finding the old templates?
Well, I suppose you could do that. Yeah, I mean that's a.
I mean, with everything else, they've invented costumes. Oh, quick side note: once upon a time in Hollywood,
yeah,
mainly jeans and shirts.
Yeah,
we wear that now.
Yeah,
not really costume design.
Yeah. But I feel like 1917 should have been there instead of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood shouldn't have got nominated for anything.
Yeah.
I mean, if we could just remove all those nominations.
But Jojo Rabbit, as we were discussing, had some really brilliant costume design.
Yeah, like there's a lot of creativity of what they did. A lot of character.
Yeah.
I was mentioning with the when Jojo's got the cardboard robot suit on, he's doing the scrap metal.
Yeah.
Like the nostrils of the SS logo.
Yeah.
And like the nice little details of that throughout, which I find really interesting. It's a shame
also like stuff like the cardboard.
Yeah, and the paper military uniforms.
Yeah, the paper military uniforms.
Like the costume actually becomes part of the story and the humour.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of it that's really good, like really well done. I mean, I haven't seen Little Women, so I can't talk about it. But
it's just
it's just period. Yeah.
I mean, as though it's the oldest and most sort of expensive thing to make, wins it. I find.
Yeah.
Production design.
What won it last year? Because didn't Suicide Squad win it at one point?
No, it won makeup and hairstyle.
That won makeup and hair.
What did win last year? I can't remember.
Probably the favourite. Let's be honest.
No, favourite only won one Oscar. It was
Olivia Colman.
Yeah, bullshit.
That's bullshit, mate.
Yeah. Okay. Production design.
Yes.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood won it. I don't know why.
Production design.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think should have won it? 1917.
I think 1917 because I think all the set construction. Yeah. There was a lot of character in the sets and the costumes.
I think but like a lot of war films, you see them. They build it what is it? Let's say Saving Private Ryan. They get onto the beaches and you see that, whereas. You see all the people dying. You see the action. Whereas 1917 did a really good job of showing this post battle,
almost like a post-apocalyptic kind of.
Yeah, like it's ruined and there's bodies everywhere and there's like horse corpses.
Yeah, I thought like the No Man's Land in particular, that bit looked
those
really
scenes
good.
look so good because of the amount of detail and how But there was a corpse half rotted but buried like 6 feet into this thing. Like you can only see its face and like. I feel like a lot of it was really well done.
Indeed. And Parasite, the big sort of rich house where a lot of films take place, they built that and designed it from scratch for the film.
Oh wow.
Which is quite an achievement.
Yeah.
So that was one of the reasons I picked that as like my who should win.
What about The Irishman then? Because that's over 4 decades, is it? 3 decades?
I mean there's nothing as sort of as as obvious as like 1917 or Parasite. Like it's again sort of like it's all period pieces, all just sort of replicating stuff of the time. So I mean it's not bad. As good production design does, it blends in. It just lends itself to the story. You don't think about it too much, I guess.
I do actually, now mentioning it, Jojo Rabbit again did a good job of that.
Did good job of that. Yeah.
Good job of showing this collapsing Nazi state that's still pretending to be incredible. Like, I feel like they did a very good job.
The last few scenes where the city's under siege, all there's a lot of good sort of. It reminds me of Downfall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the same period, isn't it?
I know. That's why I said it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So that sums up our thoughts on the Oscars. Any closing remarks?
Yeah. I mean, it was a bit of a nothing a year, wasn't it? No shocks, no horrors, enough other than the record-breaking Parasite. Yeah.
I think that sums up really. Parasite was sort of the standout achievement of the year.
Yeah.
But even then, it didn't even do a full sweep. It, 4 Oscars was the best of the night. It was quite sort of. There were no like real big winners other than that. It was quite sort of evenly distributed. I felt, which is good.
Yeah. Okay.
Share it around.
My final remarks.
Yeah.
Agatha Christie.
Agatha Christie.
Good night.
Good night.